fled Ukraine. My husband is back in Ukraine fighting. I was two little kids here, and I gave birth to the third one just now in the hospital. And I'm like, so I'm thinking she's going to be asking for help, right? Baby clothes, baby food, all of that. No, she goes ahead and she tells me, do you have any remote job for me? Because I think I'll be ready to do it in 2 days. And thanks God, I had a former client of mine in that country, in that city. And she took a complete care of my girlfriend. She came, she brought her baby food, baby clothes. She, she secured several interviews for her. So, people are so beautiful, really. But just for you to understand the story would help you to understand how Ukrainian women, at least.
Welcome back to the Empowered Woman, Badass and Unfiltered podcast. Today, I am bringing you one of the badass, most amazing women I'm going to be able to speak to all year. I'm already claiming it because she is out here saving the world. Not just any type of situation, not your average businesswoman. Yes, she is a businesswoman coming to talk about the importance of your network, but she's from Ukraine. She has fled Ukraine. She's currently in Italy, and she has helped over 100 women also flee Ukraine. I have Anastasia Vladychynska, and it's just, I just butchered the last name, but she's amazing. I'm honored to be sharing space with this woman because what she's doing for the world is making history. She's literally saving lives. This is not about likes and subscriptions and a bunch of money. No, these are people's lives. And these are the type of people that we need in the world. So thank you so much, Anastasia, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Olivia.
Absolutely. So what made you, or do you want to just give me a little bit of your background of business wise and who you are as a person?
Sure. Yeah. I am, and I'm on purpose saying that I am and not I used to be, a customer experience consultant, and I own an agency, because an agency, physically was in Kyiv, Ukraine. So before, I would say I used to own an agency. It was a very successful. I'm so confused with that. Okay. So far, it used to be a very successful agency. We were helping companies like, McDonald's, MaxMara, Visa, Hugo Boss, KENZO, all those big brands. And I also taught at the business school. So, I would teach executives of different companies on customer experience and all of that. Yes, but in the moment, all of that was gone. I hope temporarily, but still, for right now, it's gone. And I had to flee Ukraine to find a safe place. Just like my 120 girlfriends had to. So today I'm having this mission, which I don't know how it found me, but I'm having the mission of helping my girlfriends who are stranded in Europe in different countries, and they are stranded. They either need accommodation or jobs or mental support, or sometimes plain money because they don't, have the money to buy groceries for their kids. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
What made, now you could be like everybody else that's just fleeing and just taking care of themselves, which is totally normal, and admirable in this type of situation. But you have chosen to go above and beyond for these women. So what was that calling? How did you know that this was what you were supposed to do?
I think it found me rather than I found it, because when you flee, when you get out of Ukraine, and you can use any border, but usually people use either a Polish border because there's a lot of help right when you cross it. There are volunteers helping you and the kids and refugee camps, or Hungarian. So these would be two. And some of my friends had to stay in line to cross the border for 5 days in their cars with their kids. So like sleeping, eating, in the car because because of the traffic jams, right? And when I was, leaving Ukraine, right after the border, you see rows and rows and rows of cars driven by women. They had to leave their husbands behind because husbands have, if you have a Ukrainian husband stays, cannot leave Ukraine now under the law, they have to stay there because there's a martial law right now. So them and the kids. And I saw them, like once they crossed the border, they started weeping with huge, big eyes, scared eyes, like, what am I going to do next? And I saw that picture, and I don't have kids, so I don't want to be emotional here, and I'm not playing on emotions, but Olivia, I have to tell you, like, I've been asking God for 15 years why I don't have kids, and now I know. Because if I had kids in this situation, I don't even, the stories of my girlfriends who have kids, who are with kids here, without husbands, they are just heartbreaking. Okay. So when I saw that, I was like, I feel like I want to help those women. And then, because we were driving in a car, and then I got one call from the first girlfriend. She was like, Anastasia, I'm stuck in Croatia right now. Do you know anybody in Croatia who could help me with accommodation? I was like, okay. And I'm a doer. Like, I'm not gonna talk to you for an hour just crying with you. I'm a doer. I'm like, okay, so what do you need right now? It's like, well, I have my hotel booked for 2 nights. And then I'm like, so what happens next? She says, I have no idea because I don't have the money. So what did I do? I immediately sent her my own money because, like, what do you do, right? It's your friend. So, and then I was like, who do I know in Croatia? And I started remembering people from the work, because I do international work. I do speeches in different corners of the world. So I was like, do I have anybody in Croatia? And then I thought about the person. He used to be a former client of mine. And, I texted him. Could you please, there's a woman stranded, do you have anything for her, any job recommendation, accommodation, anything? And he was like, yeah, I do not personally, but I can put you in touch with. So that's how it all started. Now, you take that story, you multiply it by, by 10 for the first day, and then by 100, by now, 120. And it's almost the same. Everybody needs accommodation, then they need a job. And again, I have so many, thanks God, I have so many friends everywhere. So I asked them, do you guys have any remote jobs for my girls while, they're trying to find something stable for themselves? So then, they said, yes, because, there's always work, virtual assistants, marketing, digital. So I started connecting my friends from Ukraine with those friends from the States, for example, or Canada. And now they're doing some work for them. So yeah, that's how it started. I did not look for it. I think that everybody would do the same. Like, your friend is in trouble, right? So I think everybody, no?
I personally, I would, but everybody doesn't have your heart. And it's beautiful that you do. And I mean, you also being working in customer service and stuff like that too, you know how to handle people. Everybody don't know how to handle people. Like, I mean, that's part of the reason you've been successful, is because people aren't good with the soft skills. And so you've built these relationships, but you've obviously maintained these relationships because people are willing to help you help your friends. And I'm not just saying it because, I mean, granted, I didn't know you before this, but now I'm just like, if I knew you before this, I would have, of course, been like, oh yeah, how can I help? And I mean, this is the best way I know how to help at the moment, but still, like, how did you build and form those relationships that you're now utilizing in a different way?
I think that I never built them from the perspective of what can I get out of that relationship. And then again, I only understand it now because you don't analyze things, you just live how you live, right? And then you look back and you analyze and you make some conclusions. That's why I'm rethinking and trying to redesign the word network, because for business people, we even talk about like expanding our network, right? Networking, almost always having on the back of your mind that you're going to use that net for work sometime, like you're going to use it sometime. And I've always hated that notion. Okay, I would be, if you're if you're at the party or there's a business event and there is somebody standing by themselves, I would always come up to that person. I don't know why, but like I would feel bad for that person. So I would always come up. And I never started or maintained relationships just because because I could get something out of it. I tried to maintain relationships just with people who I like. And I don't care, what kind of position you have or you had or you will have. If I like you, I will maintain the relationship. And again, if you are having a beautiful position that might be of my business interest, but I don't like you as a person, I wouldn't. So for me, I thought that was the drawback. I was like, everybody networks just for the sake of networking. Why didn't I come up to that person? Because it was such an important person at the party, but I didn't feel like. So I always thought it was my drawback. I thought it was something, I should have done. And that reminds me of a recent event. I was in New York City, and we had a beautiful event with all the media experts, people from Forbes, from CNN, BBC, and it was a media mixer. So we would have experts, experts in almost anything, like from cooking to customer service. And then we would have those media representatives, right? So I ended up meeting only several people from media, but what I did for the whole night was connecting my friends that I know with those people in the media. I was like, oh, you're in cooking, you have a cooking TV show, let me connect you with my friend. So by the end of the event, I was actually mad at myself. I was like, why didn't I care for myself? But first I connected those people. But you'll be laughing. These people, my friends that I connected with media people, are now the first people who are supporting me in that webinar thing that I'm doing right now to raise money for my girlfriends. So you never know how things can turn. But does that answer your question, or it was a...
Yeah, I love it. I love you as a person. I read people very quickly. And this is bringing me so much life. And it's amazing that you can bring so much life and spirit to a person while you're the one that's like dealing with a true tragedy right now. And I think that just says so much about your character and how you can show up in the world and just be pure-hearted. Because no, you don't. I'm the same way. I'll go to like networking things and I just gravitate towards the people that I gravitate towards. Like, I'm not about to just like be around people just because I don't care how much money somebody has. I don't care what their title is. Like, if I think they're a crappy person, they're a crappy person. Like, I focus on the ones that I like, and it might be the janitor, but that just will be what it is. And you also said something which made me think about something else. You never reap from the same field that you sow into. And that's with, saying like, you connected these people with these people, but those people are the ones to help you. You're not reaping from you helped plant a seed with them, but you're reaping in different ways and doing things in different ways. And you never know how things are going to work out. What do you think helps you with your faith during these times right now?
I don't have I wish I had one simple answer, something like I read the Bible in the morning and then it helps me throughout the day, but it wouldn't be true. I read a piece in the morning. And it's funny how, before when you're reading all those Psalms where they have everything about the war, you'll be like, oh, let's skip it, right? Because there's no war anymore. But now, like, it all speaks to your heart so profoundly. But unfortunately, I can't tell you that, I read it in the morning and then it helps me throughout the day. Because frankly, there's so many ups and downs during the day. You could be like I am right now, like I'm being myself right now, my own energy, it's just myself. But then you could take your phone and read an awful piece of news again, what's going on in your country, and you'll be like down for the rest of the day. So to me, I think that the biggest source of power actually comes from, and again, from people, So people who check on you, who say, how are you doing? People who need help, people who give help. To me, that's because that's just me. I get energy from other people. I don't get it from, from sitting just by myself. But yeah, I there's no one answer to this. Seriously, there's no. And then you would be full of faith. One day you'll be like, I'm sure I am where I have to be. I'm sure, things will work out the best. And then the next morning you wake up and you don't want to get out of bed. You're just, weeping in your bed. So, but I heard that's normal for people going through trauma, right? So yeah, unfortunately, there is no unanswered.
I think that was a really good answer, though. It was an honest answer.
It is honest.
Because you're going through something so many people, like this is the first time in your life that you've had to deal with this, right? I can only imagine the trauma or the things you've even seen, and then with the news and seeing that stuff, and you can't detach. You're helping so many. Oh my goodness. No, I'm going, you are going to, for Anastasia, you're forever going to be in my prayers, because we have to lift up the strong people. We really do, especially with what you're doing. I mean, how long has this been going on for you? Granted, we can sit in the US and see this stuff on the news and live our normal lives, not even thinking about the fact that this is real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very real, unfortunately. And the worst part is that, when it all started in the morning, I thought it was fireworks. Because, I woke up from the explosions, but I thought it was fireworks. Your mind is telling you this is not possible in the 21st century in the middle of Europe, okay? And so because it's so hard to believe it's really happening, your mind is in shock all the time. And then when you live day by day, you're okay. But then when you start analyzing that, in one day you've lost your home, your clothes, your stilettos. Yeah, I do think about my stilettos. I do. I'm like, and your family is still there. And then your news feed is filled with people searching for their loved ones. They can't find them. You're thinking, your mind tells you this is not possible. Like when I saw the pictures from Kyiv, from my city, and there was a shooting there, and the whole square is totally ruined. And that square is where the headquarters of McDonald's is. And I remember myself doing trainings there. So when I see those pictures, I almost think this is Photoshopped. Like I'm telling you, my mind is just, but then when you're there, because I didn't leave right away. I did spend several days in Ukraine, and, you're sleeping in your clothes, because when the sirens go off, you only have 2-3 minutes to go hide either in the basement or in the bathroom. But in the basement, it's cold. So you have to be, wearing something. So, you run to the basement, you sit there, you pick up the folder with your documents, and you're there sitting and sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then it's off, so you can go back, sleep, and then you go back and you're shivering like a leaf all the time, because it's a huge stress. First days, I didn't eat anything. And it's not just about me, it's about my friends. And again, I am in a better situation because my friends, some of my friends are still for 14 days, they are in the basements. They can't get out of the city. They don't have food because Russians don't allow the humanitarian aid to come in, and they are not allowing the evacuation, like they're shooting the green corridors. So like, I'm trying to think, for myself, I am lucky, seriously. I did have some trauma, but not that much as those people. And when you think about that, being like in a beautiful country, and and people think of Ukraine as if it's a very poor country, but that is not true. You would see Tesla cars driving the streets. You would see my friends, my friends are entrepreneurs or business owners, or people driving BMWs, Audi cars, beautiful apartments, beautiful houses. So it's not like, it was a very poor country and then what did these people have to lose? They lost a lot. And yeah, you can't wrap your mind around this. It's almost like, I feel like there is a huge wound inside of me, and I don't even know. The worst part is you don't even know when it's going to heal or end. Yeah. So I don't know how I arrived here.
But I mean, hey, you are helping other people. Like that in itself is giving it so much more purpose. There's so much purpose in your pain. And while it's a struggle and it's a hassle right now in this moment, you're doing the work, you're getting out there, you're speaking to people, you're raising money to help women. You're not even taking like a profit. You're really like helping people. And while we actually know like this is going to a good place, you're showing up and doing things, your webinars of service to fund and help other people. Yeah. And of course, remember to take care of yourself. There is no wrapping your head around this, but gratitude more than anything, of being grateful for the fact that God helped you through this, and he's using you in such a way. And yes, there's so much tragedy and loss, and there's no answer. And what's going on is so wrong there. It's so upsetting what's going on. The lives that are being lost, the people that are starving, like I didn't even realize that they were not even allowing a humanitarian aid in there. Like that's so disgusting.
Yeah, there are some cities which are locked and you can't get any humanitarian aid in there because they want to look as if they are the ones spreading out humanitarian aid, not the Ukrainians. But they themselves cannot bring it in. So it just. Oh
my God.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, okay. How can we help?
Yeah, so there are many ways, and I've seen people donating to governmental websites. That's fine. Then there are people donating. There was this beautiful cause when you can pay for an Airbnb but not stay there. Like people would pay for a night in an Airbnb place in Kyiv or any city in Ukraine. So that's also cute because the money goes directly to the host. That's I thought that was a nice idea. I don't know who made it up. It was cool. It's to us and my girls why the master classes, the webinars, because me personally, I don't feel comfortable accepting donations just like that without doing anything. And I'm not trying to say that, somebody who does it is wrong. No. It's just my personal thing. Like I feel like I have to work for it. Okay. So that's why I've started doing, it's one masterclass a week, all around wow, customer experience, client retention, keeping your clients from dropping off, all of that. And all the proceeds that come from those webinars go into what we call SOS fund for my girlfriends. So when somebody is stuck, they would use that money to whatever they need. Yeah, that's what we do. But again, there are many ways. Even if you have people are gratitude. I am overwhelmed with all the help we are getting from all the countries. Seriously, from opening homes to sending trucks with food. It's just, it almost seems like every person out there is helping. So even if you have somebody, you have a friend or an acquaintance in Ukraine, if you can reach out to them and say, hey, tell me what you need, but please don't ask, because there are some, I'll share, there are some stupid questions, okay? And please do not ask them. Like, for example, I hope you're okay. No, we are not okay. I hope you will bounce back soon. No.
This ain't even over. Like, people forget that like these things, just because it's out of the news, when it goes out of the news, it's not over. Like, the destruction is there, it's happened, and y'all are gonna need help for years to come. Like, the trauma that's gonna come from this is gonna be so flippin' real. Like, that is, I understand that annoyance right there.
Yeah. So, or I hope you and your parents are safe. No, we are not. Okay. So don't say that. And again, you have to know something about Ukrainians. Even for me, it was the girls who know me personally. I have to ask them like 3 times, do you need money? Or do you have a place to stay tonight? Like, I have to ask them, because Ukrainians are used to working to get something. Okay. We are not lazy people at all. So if you want to help, if you have a friend or acquaintance in Ukraine, ask them direct questions. Don't be afraid. Ask them, do you have a place to stay for tonight? Okay. Do you have money to buy grocery? Do you have money to buy baby clothes? Okay. Ask those straight questions. Don't say, if you need anything, DM. They will not. It's just us. It's a cultural thing. We will not. Okay. It's not that we are prideful. It's just that we always think that somebody else needs it more than I do. Okay. I'll give you an example, which has completely blown my mind, and I can't. So a friend of mine, she's a financial expert, and you have to know, like, all those girlfriends of mine, they are, well educated, speaking several languages, beautiful minds. Okay. So she texts me and says, Anastasia, I'm in a new country. I just fled Ukraine. My husband is back in Ukraine fighting. I'm with 2 little kids here, and I gave birth to the 3rd one just now in the hospital. And I'm like, so I'm thinking she's going to be asking for help, right? Baby clothes, baby food, all of that. No, she goes ahead and she tells me, do you have any remote job for me? Because I think I'll be ready to do it in 2 days. And thanks God, I had a former client of mine in that country, in that city, and she took a complete care of my girlfriend. She came, she brought her baby food, baby clothes. She, she secured several interviews for her. So, people are so beautiful, really. But just for you to understand the story would help you to understand how Ukrainian women, at least, are. So
yeah, y'all are some badasses. Like, I'm tearing up. Just think, I'm such an empath, and I feel other like emotions. I'm literally putting myself there, and just like her being like, okay, I just had a baby, but I'm gonna work. And it reminds me also of like people that are in depression, like dealing with depression. Don't tell them to DM you if you need help. If they need help, that's not gonna, like, no, you really have to be direct. You have to check on your strong friends, because especially if you've got that mindset, like, I've got to work for it, I've got to do. Yes, like, I understand so much more. And see, I wasn't even watching a whole bunch of the stuff, but when I saw your post come up, I was like, yes, this is something I want to do. Like, this is somebody I definitely want to have on. I'm like, I'll move my schedule around because this is so important. And
Sorry,
I knew I would gain so much more from learning from somebody that's been there and actually dealing with it than I would watching any story, any news story.
That's
understanding
true,
the culture, you know, like
yeah.
it's absolutely amazing. Well, I'm definitely posting all of your links below to your workshops and everything else. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, something that I'm sharing and which is very heavy on my heart is because you will now see lots and lots of refugees from Ukraine everywhere, right? I do not actually like the word refugee because there is a bad connotation about that word. And I personally have always thought of refugees being, you know, lazy, only wanting to be living on welfare, social benefits, and why, as an entrepreneur, I have to pay taxes for those people. I am raw with you right now. And if you haven't thought this, you know, you're good. I have always thought this way. So what I would suggest is for the international community to see, and I told you that these women, and it's mostly women who have fled, okay? These women are well educated, they are ready to work, they will work, and all of them want to go back. So I would encourage everybody to think about Ukrainians who had to leave, more of like, you know, temporarily displaced people. Okay. And to always see that there is, you know, I don't know, this person could be even more educated than I am. Okay. Treating them as equals, because I'm very protective about my girlfriends. I care about their safety, everything, but I also want to protect them from all the, everything bad that could come from the society.
The prejudice.
Exactly. So for me personally, I am totally looking at all refugees now in a completely different way. It's people who were forced to leave their homes. They would love to be back. They would love to, because there's nothing better than home. You want to, sitting on your own couch and not on your friend's couch, to be in your own living room. So this is something which is heavy on my heart, and I just wanted to share, and maybe this will change somebody's perspective on who a refugee is.
Absolutely. And I mean, just I say flee, but I like temporarily displaced Ukrainians is what we're going to see, and we're going to see a lot of them. Hopefully we do see a lot, because the more we see, the more we know we're safe. And that's the most important thing. And we have to lift our brothers and sisters up in this time. And speaking as an American, I know a lot of people that are very nationalist, and I've never thought that way about refugees. I'm going to say that, but I do know other people that do. And I appreciate your honesty with sharing that too. A lot of people here in America, what our issue is we own the good and the bad, but we don't ever face our ugly. We don't like to ever look in the dirty mirror and really do the self-reflective work to be like, okay, we could be better at this. That is one of the things here in America. We are so for a show, but never, there's a lot of disingenuine people here. And I've been realizing that more and more. Very, very money hungry. Now, I love this country. I do. I'm not saying that I don't, but I'm just being honest. And I know that,
but it's global, Olivia. It's global. I've been working in and speaking in so many countries. It's global. We are afraid to be genuine because we are afraid what people are going to think about us. But when you face war, you don't care what people think about you, seriously. like you
Absolutely.
stop caring. Mhm.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. This gave me so much life. I know the people listening to this, and I'll post it on YouTube as well. So the people seeing this will gain a whole different perspective on what's going on. And I hope they sign up for a workshop because yeah, it's going to a very, very good cause. Thank you so much, Anastasia, for joining me today. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation. I thought it was deep.